Hello again. And today we want to speak about whether or not somebody who has a parent who is involved in the false Judaism, in the Messianic movement or the Nazarite movement or whatever movement you want to call it, any kind of Jewish movement that is trying to mix Jewish ideas with Christianity, this is not Jewish. Okay, so if in fact you do have a parent who is involved in this type of movement or who is a leader in this type of movement, this video is for you. Now, I would like to share a few things about the Torah, what the Torah has to say on in the commentaries of Rashi as well. But first, before we do that, I want to point out that many people will try to discredit the claims or the message that we're giving here on these videos by saying that one is not honoring one's parent, or this is baseless hatred, or any type of thing like that. And that's just a cheap attempt to try to discredit the message because they have no way of countering the message that's been given. It's very, very solid, and they have no way of countering it. So what they do is like a lawyer. Instead of debating the facts, they debate whether the evidence is okay to bring in as an exhibit, etc., etc. So they go into technicalities. The fact is that you're literally comparing oranges to strawberries or apples. It does not make sense. Now, as far as it looks like it makes sense, the argument really sounds nice, but when you really get into it, you really quickly realize that it doesn't really make sense. So, though the fifth commandment of the top 10, if you will, in the 10 commandments says to honor your parents, let's not forget what the first commandment says, which is Hashem is God and we have to honor Him first. This comes first. So the halacha is very clear. If your parents tell you to violate the Shabbat or to eat non-kosher food, etc., you do not have to listen to them. Okay? And it says this, let's take a very brief example, very simple math. For those of you who can't add for some reason, take a calculator and follow along, because this is a very, very simple way of disproving this false attempt at a counter by trying to divert the attention to a different halacha, if you will, when in fact it doesn't apply. Okay, and what I'm referring to is in Bereshit, in Genesis, the Torah tells us in verse 26 of chapter 11 that Terach, the father of Avram, he gave birth to Avram was born to him at the age of 70 years old. And in verse 32 it says that Terach died at the age of 205. Okay, now Avram, he left Haran, he left his father's house, etc., at the age of 75. So you take 70, which is the time that Terach was born. Well, Avram was born, Terach was 70. And you add 75 to that, means Terach was 145 years old when Avram left Haran. Very, very simple math, right? Meaning he still had another 60 years left of his life. What happened? Where is that gap? Well, Rashi clearly says that in order so that people won't say that Avram did not honor his father and left him, abandoned him at the old age, it considers him dead. Why? Because wicked or evildoers are considered like dead even when they're alive. Okay? Now, the message here that I'm trying to give is very, very clear. Okay? Any person, it is not a personal attack on anybody, okay? But any person who has a parent, and this parent incites others into idolatry, into a false belief, okay, that is not Judaism, that person, the commandment of dishonoring him by saying, hey, listen, folks, what this father of mine is teaching, it's not true, okay, he's a false leader, etc., 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 that is not considered dishonoring your parent, okay? Let's make that very clear, because the people who are ignorant do not know the halachot, they don't know the Jewish law, and they'll come out with this. So they'll try to discredit the entire message when in fact Moshe Rabbeinu told us in Parashat Re'eh, Devarim, Deuteronomy 13:7, that if a person has a family member, whether it's his brother or his sister or someone very close to him, and the Midrash says, even his father, even his mother or his spouse, and they say, listen, Judaism, let's add this to Judaism, or let's do this, let's consider this as well. You are not allowed to follow them, number one. And number two, if you see that he's affecting or hurting other Jews, you must come out and be the whistleblower. It's the halacha. There's no such thing as honoring your parent when this person is dishonoring Hashem. Now again, if for whatever reason a Jew has a parent who does not keep Shabbat, who does not keep kosher, you don't have to sit here and tell the world your parents don't keep kosher. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, if you have a parent who is some type of missionary or some type of leader in the false version of Judaism, because it's not Judaism, Messianic Judaism or Nazarite or whatever you want to call it, any Judaism that believes in Yeshua and Jesus, it is not Judaism. And it is your duty to help other people who are being hurt, who are being defrauded. Okay, this is a very, very serious issue, and the halacha does not require us to treat them with merciful, because our sages clearly say, he who is merciful to the wicked will be wicked to the merciful. So again, this is not a personal attack on anybody. My intention here is to show that any false leader, okay, any leader of the Messianic movement, which is a false leader, okay, this is against them and their false ideas and their false Judaism and their false Messiah. This is against them. Now, it just so happens that if your parent is one of those leaders, then that's their problem. That's not my problem. Or it shouldn't be the son's problem or the daughter's problem. That is the parent's choice. Therefore, it is not a personal attack on anybody. Let's get that straight. So those people who are trying to discredit the work that we're doing here, it is not a personal attack on anybody. It just so happens in my particular case, my father is one of these leaders. So that's not my fault. That's his fault. Okay? The same goes to anybody who has a parent who is in this movement or is a leader in this movement. Don't feel guilty. Don't allow. This is nonsense. This is just a clever way of the evil one to try to dissuade you from doing the work that you're doing. Continue doing it, because it is our duty to help our fellow Jews not be fooled by a false ideology, a false Judaism, and help them to embrace true Judaism. Thank you very much.